Okay, I know this. I know I'm going to get some vile comments in the comment section. I know that. So we're going to try to be nice and civil and calm, but it may get a little heated. And listen, we can have two sides to the issue. It's fine, right? I'm going to try to be as nice and reasonable as possible. So, Christy Lemire, I don't want to use these words, but we got to use words. I think it's probably more accurate to call herself a film journalist. And I will admit, not jealousy, but frustration that this woman makes not a great living, but a fairly tolerable living doing film journalism, quotation marks, and film criticism. And I am really financially struggling. And by the way, I'm Hispanic. This is going to be critical later to why I'm a little bit angry. But let's first start off a lot of sympathy, a lot of empathy, and I'm not play acting. I do feel empathy for her plight. So she's been doing a podcast with Alonzo, a gay critic. And by the way, I say gay critic because he says gay critic. He makes that very blatant. So she and Alonzo have done this podcast. They did several other things. I know this woman's career very well, so I know that people are like, "Oh my god, what are you, a weirdo?" And then so I've given her, and I'll be totally brutally honest, more for her co-host, who I find way superior. But let me get to the thing and extend genuine empathy. But it is what it is. So Christy's a woman, she is, and she got diagnosed, and apparently it is positive for breast cancer. Now, she's being very clear. It is at a very, very early stage that they've caught it. She will probably be better. They will treat it. It's no problem. That's why you do these things. And I would encourage any woman to try to get breast right. Just do an examination to see if you have cancer because you never know. And so it's better to get early detection. Also, to be very clear, I know this other YouTuber, Knife Hoarder. They've been very friendly. He recently got out of the hospital. His thing is heart. So, but he admits he did not eat well. His health was terrible. He was an addict for years. So, with any of these things, you got to try to take care of yourself, guys. And I get it. Our healthcare system is terrible. It is terrible. But you got to do what you got to do. Even if you got to do a GoFundMe or beg, try to get detected, go for a physical, because you want to just try to get these things early on. Otherwise, it could start right snowballing and it become a major problem for you and your family. So there you are. So she's detected it early. She's very clear. This is a very early stage. So probably she will be fine. She will be healthy. She will live out her normal life. Don't panic, but she will just wanted to relate the news. And in the interest of civility, I think this is great, technically great news. So that she caught it early, and I hope she gets better, and I hope her family's fine. Obviously, I'm not a monster. However, now we're going to start getting into the negative portion where, let us say morbidly, 1 in a million shot, she dies. And she dies tragically. They cannot do anything. The cancer is just too strong. It does happen, right? Again, the possibility here is like 99% it's not going to happen. She caught the breast cancer early. It will be treated. I think her husband is like a producer, so they probably have enough resources to treat it, hopefully. And if she has to do a GoFundMe or ask for more money, hey, I'll be more than happy to advertise that. We work in the same field. We are technically colleagues. We are co-professionals, and so on and so forth. We're literally in the same space because she does film YouTube. I do film YouTube. Okay, the nice portion is about to end soon. So if you want no more niceness, then you better get out because I'm going to start to get really brutal and really angry with this woman. And I have all the receipts. I have so many receipts, people have no clue. And just to give her a big, and I mean massive point, her early stuff is fine. She's done a lot of print reviews, so I'm talking about primarily her television career. So for those not aware of any culture, Roger and Ebert for decades were these very big film critics and established a brand. And tragically, Gene died in the late 90s. That was very sad. Roger kept the show going, but obviously it was really the two of them that made the magic. So he had a rotating set of guests. She was really not part of that. So eventually he gave up the title and said, this isn't going to work. It passed on to these other two hosts and to be very consistent. It's very ironic. One of the hosts actually co-hosted with Christy. Yeah, it's a whole big mess. I think they tried. I think they were sincere. It just didn't really work. But there were some good reviews they did, but it was really kind of janky. Kind of janky. But I do like Ben. I like Ben a lot. Ben is part of Hollywood history and family. His family goes back to Hollywood a long time. So I don't dislike her friends or even, I'd have to say honest, like, because Alonzo can be very ideological. He's very gay. I'm not going to joke. He's very clear about that. Guys, I'm a gay guy. I'm going to review this from a gay perspective. But even he is a lot better than her. She just is, what's the word? Well, she's so many things. But her early stuff is not as cringe or bad. And I just want to get the context out of the way. So she did basically a Roger Ebert show with Ignotti. He is like a god. If you want a great film critic, look him up, Ignotti. He is amazing. Like, he humbles me. I know people will get annoyed when I say, I studied this, I'll research that. But in terms of film studies, that guy is on another level. He is way superior to me. So now let's get to the point. And this is why I'm taking it personal. So, and I mentioned this in another video, that I was part of many movements. The anti-war movement in the 2000s, and I'm still trying to do anti-war activism, and I was part of the Snyder Cut movement. Now, I came to the Snyder Cut movement very late, but I'm one of those people. I am one of those guys constantly on Twitter defending Snyder, tweeting up positive Snyder things. I can be critical of Snyder. I don't really like his version of Watchmen. I saw it, and as a big fan of the comic, I'm like, the film is fine. It's okay, but, it's not a very good translation. And there are certain things I don't like as much as the people. I defend Sucker Punch, but I don't think it's one of his best films. I really love the zombie film, but 300, I'm like, I guess it's okay. He's a very sincere fan, clearly, of comic books. I appreciate that, but I don't think he's ever made really technically a bad film, but some of his films are underwhelming. But other films are really much better. And even though I do like his trilogy a lot and defend it a lot, I'd have to say BVS is one of the weirdest films you're ever going to see. I'd consider it a flawed masterpiece. So I can be very critical of Snyder. I do agree with a lot of the criticisms. When they're well done, the criticisms of Snyder are very sharp. But I also think people exaggerate and they underplay how good he is. So now we're getting to Christy. And it's not just one video. I've caught this several times. First of all, she makes tons of mistakes. Like, tons of mistakes. It's not just about Snyder. I want to be clear. It's not the Snyder bros or hanging up on a poor little woman who's as sick of, oh my God, you Snyder bros are sick and weird. She's suffering from cancer. It's like, it's an early stage. Calm down. And she did this, not me. She got really antagonistic. But let me get away from Snyder for 1 second. She was reviewing these Star Wars films on What the Flick, which is connected to TYT. So yeah, I know this woman's career very intimately, good or bad. And listen, I also defend the prequels, but I can be very critical of them. And I can be very critical of Star Wars. She was getting basic things wrong. Like, I remember very clearly they were reviewing The Force Awakens as well as The Last Jedi and all these things. I could go back chapter and verse to and by the way, they're really good videos. Like, her What the Flick stuff was actually pretty good. It's mixed, but it's good, right? She was just getting basic things wrong about Star Wars. So it's like, well, if you're going to take this attitude that the prequels are garbage, fine, you can do that. You don't know Star Wars. Why are you saying these things? And she definitely doesn't know Snyder. Like, she gets so, like, she does this embarrassing, she brags about this, saying, okay, guys, I went with Nick. There's this whole thing on YouTube, don't ever talk about people's children. Well, you kind of have to when they bring them in. So she does this thing where, guys, I really don't know the MCU. I don't know comics. I'm a girl. She brags about it. She even says these things. I'm not making stuff up. She does this thing where she says, okay, guys, I brought Nick along. Nick is her son. Her son is really into comic books. Her son is into comic book culture. Good on Nick. So she's like, I really don't know this stuff, so I have to turn to Nick. Nick, what's going on here? I don't understand. I really don't understand this. She literally brags that her son knows way more about the movies and comics she's reviewing than she does. She just makes it cute. Like, yeah, I brought Nick along. He thought it was fine. I don't know. I thought it was like, I don't know. It could have been better. But Nick tells me that's how it works in comics. Okay, okay, honey, thank you. Guys, it's so stupid. I don't like it. I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 10. I'm being critical. I'm a film critic. So let me just get to the Snyder part because that made me really angry. Because in her review, and she admits, yeah, the Snyder Cut had good stuff, but she went into this whole tangent. And by the way, I agree with her. Like some Snyder people can be extreme. You gotta be honest. Some Snyder fans, some Snyder bros, they're a little extreme. So apparently, some of the Snyder bros, does she not know Zack Snyder has female fans? You idiot. But anyway, apparently, some of the Snyder people contacted her through email or something, were really nasty and harsh. She was like, "Oh my God, you Snyder people! Who do you think you are, Snyder? Okay, you got your cut, you masculine male man. Where are my gay people? Where are my beautiful black people? God, Snyder! Okay, fine, you have your Snyder cut. Let's move on." Her review was so partisan. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But anyway, because by the way, Zach lost his daughter. He dedicated the film to his. I mean, this woman, these wokos really make me angry. Now, I will say this though, she actually is a real feminist. She's not a fake feminist. I'll give her that. So let me get to the point. If tragically she dies, can you say she's a good mother? I don't know her well enough. I suppose she is. Was she a good wife? I don't know her well enough. Maybe she was. And somebody's going to be tempted to say, and we lost a good feminist. Maybe she is. Maybe she is an actual good, consistent feminist political activist. That's fine. Good mother, right? Good wife, good feminist. If somebody tells me we lost a good film, no, we did not lose a good film critic. We did not lose a good film critic. We did not lose a film critic. We didn't lose a critic at all. He's just a very ignorant, stupid, barely functional journalist. Like we're talking, she puts basic sentences together. She does do some good criticism here and there, but this is not what a critic is at all. She makes so many mistakes, just basic mistakes. Fundamental. And by the way, Alonso's not much better too. They did this Scream review where they just got a basic thing wrong about the film series. And they're claiming, like, oh no, in this chapter they do this. No, Alonso, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So they're both not really good film critics, but I'd have to be reluctant and say the gay guy, who's Hispanic, by the way, the gay Hispanic guy at least is a legit film critic. I may think most of his criticisms are garbage. I think 90% of his films or his criticisms are stupid, but he's a legit film critic. To be ruthlessly consistent, Ben, who they also work with sometimes, he's also not much of a film critic. He's more of a film journalist who does critiques of film. He's not a very good film critic either. I am heaping angry at many levels, and granted, this is a Hollywood problem. It's not a their problem, really, but this woman tries to make money online from film criticism. I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm very much struggling. I am a far superior critic, far superior writer. It's just really annoying to see these white feminist women who are radically ignorant. I mean, radically ignorant about comic books, radically ignorant about comic book culture, comic book history, or the actual particular subject. Star Wars, Zack Snyder, you go through the list, they just don't know what they're talking about. Preach and moralize to other people. Oh my God, the masculinity and the Snyder and the homophobia. Oh my God. Yeah, they're just really stupid people, but they're making good money being stupid. And I'm struggling trying to be a good, honest critic. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. However, I do feel sympathy. I do. I feel honest sympathy for her, but boy, I am not going to lie for her and say, "Oh my God, if we lose Christy, we're going to lose a, we're going to lose a good film critic. We got so film, we have so many." You're right. Yes, we have very few film critics. I would be harsh enough to myself to say I barely qualify as a film critic, but I do qualify. Her? No. She's just a very partisan feminist idiot who just puts out cringe material and barely gets anything right. It's just, it's embarrassing. It's an insult even as an audience. It's just an insult to film culture. But hey, it is what it is. It's capitalism. So I'll give her that. She's not a very good film critic, but she's a good feminist capitalist. I'll give her that. She's making way more money than I am. So is there any reason to feel sorry for her? Not really, because she's a really mean, nasty person. But hey, I will be the better person and say, I hope she gets better. But she is not a good writer, and she's definitely not a good film critic. So we're not going to lose anything there, like it or not.